Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we cut through the noise to get you well-informed fast. Today we're diving into something you might typically think is just about staying cozy,
Right.
but it's actually one of the most powerful and, frankly, often overlooked tools for significantly reducing your home's carbon footprint: insulation.
It's so true. Insulation isn't just about comfort on a chilly morning. Um, it's a critical strategic component in the wider conversation about climate change. And it starts right in your own home.
That's a great way to put it. Our mission today is, well, to guide you through the nuances of insulation choices. We're going to unpack how different materials impact both energy efficiency and the environment, helping you insulate smarter, cleaner, and better, whether you're eyeing a deep energy retrofit for an old colonial or, planning new construction from the ground up. So let's get into what really makes insulation a climate player.
Okay. So when we talk about a home's carbon footprint, insulation plays a much bigger role than most people initially grasp. Every time your heating or cooling system kicks on, it's consuming energy.
Right.
And in homes with poor insulation, that energy is essentially just bleeding out through the attic, walls, crawl spaces, basements.
Just escaping.
Exactly. More energy use means more greenhouse gas emissions and a bigger hit to both the environment and, let's be honest, your utility bill.
So it's about much more than just adjusting the thermostat a degree or two, isn't it?
Oh, definitely.
It's about stopping that energy from escaping in the first place.
Ugh.
And to truly understand insulation's environmental punch, we need to distinguish between two key concepts: operational carbon and embodied carbon. What's the difference there?
Okay, so operational carbon is the energy your home burns every single day for heating and cooling. This is the part you directly see on your utility bill, right? And it accounts for daily emissions. The magic of good insulation is that it dramatically cuts this, simply because your heating and cooling systems don't have to work nearly as hard.
That makes perfect sense. Less energy used daily translates directly to less carbon emitted daily.
Ugh.
Okay. But then there's this other concept, embodied carbon. That sounds a bit more complex.
It is a little. Embodied carbon refers to the carbon footprint of the insulation material itself.
The stuff itself.
Yeah, everything from raw materials, extraction, through manufacturing, transportation to your home, even the packaging. Some insulation types are surprisingly energy intensive to produce.
Like what?
Well, certain types of spray foam, for instance. Others, like cellulose, are made from recycled materials and have a very low or even carbon negative embodied carbon footprint. It's about looking at the full life cycle.
Gotcha. So if we're truly aiming for significant home emission reduction, we need insulation that performs exceptionally well on both fronts, minimizing its embodied carbon impact up front, and then delivering high energy efficiency every single day it's in your home. That's the real sweet spot, right?
Exactly. For a genuine reduction in your home's environmental impact, you want insulation that not only saves energy year after year, but also didn't cost the earth much to create in the first place. It's the ultimate double win.
Wait, here's where it gets really interesting for anyone trying to make smart choices. Beyond just saving energy once it's installed, what are some of the other, maybe surprising factors that truly make insulation eco-friendly?
Well, several factors contribute to truly eco-friendly insulation choices. First, look for materials made from recycled or renewable sources, things like old newspaper, recycled glass, or even plant fibers.
Right, reduces waste.
Yeah, it dramatically reduces landfill waste and the need for virgin materials. Second, as we just discussed, low embodied carbon is crucial. Cellulose is a prime example here.
Newspaper one.
Yeah, it often stores more carbon than it releases during its life cycle, which is pretty amazing, actually. Third, it's air sealing power, insulation that also acts as an air barrier.
It's like a 2-in-1.
Exactly, like dense packed cellulose or closed cell spray foam is absolutely critical for preventing heat loss and drafts. It stops the air movement.
And what about the long-term health of the home and, the people living in it?
That's a vital consideration. Many eco-friendly options are non-toxic and low VOC, that's volatile organic compound.
Right, the fumes.
Which means better indoor air quality for your family. A lot of these materials are also naturally mold and pest resistant, which adds to the home's durability. Ultimately, the best sustainable insulation should last for decades without sagging, molding, or underperforming. You want those benefits to last.
So with all that in mind, let's talk specifics. We've got a detailed breakdown of common materials here, and I'm keen to hear which ones stand out for their eco-credentials and performance. First up, what's often called the recycled champ, Cellulose insulation.
Yes, cellulose. It's made from up to 85% recycled newspaper, which is, incredible in itself.
That's
It
huge.
is. But the real game changer here is that it has a very low embodied carbon footprint. So low, it's often considered carbon negative.
Meaning it stores carbon.
Yeah, it sequesters more carbon than it emits during its production. And when properly dense packed into wall cavities, it offers excellent air sealing capabilities. Plus, it's naturally pest and fire resistant due to the borate treatment it undergoes.
Right rates.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for sustainability, performance, and affordability, it really is a fantastic all-around choice.
That certainly sounds like a winner right off the bat. How about mineral wool? I've heard that's a very durable option.
Mineral wool is made from natural rock and recycled industrial slag, like from steel mills. Its embodied carbon is medium. The production is quite energy intensive,
Okay.
but its durability is exceptional. It's highly water resistant, mold proof, and has an excellent fire rating. It's a solid, long-lasting option with decent green credentials, especially good where moisture or fire resistance is a primary concern.
Got it. And then there's fiberglass. That's probably what most people immediately picture when they hear insulation, right? The pink stuff.
Yeah, the pink or yellow rolls or bats. Fiberglass is made from glass fibers, often with some recycled content, which gives it a medium embodied carbon footprint.
So middle of the pack there.
Pretty much. While it's very affordable and widely available, some people do have concerns about it irritating skin and lungs during installation. It gets itchy.
Oh, yeah. But
It's a reliable choice for general insulation, but if you're prioritizing the absolute greenest options on our list, there are, frankly, better choices.
And finally, spray foam. It's known for its incredibly high performance, but it comes with a pretty significant environmental asterisk, doesn't it?
That's a very fair assessment. Spray foam is derived from petroleum-based chemicals,
Okay, fossil fuels.
which gives it a high embodied carbon footprint and significant VOC concerns during its application, so good ventilation during install is absolutely essential.
Right.
Its performance, particularly its excellent air sealing capabilities, is undeniable. It really seals things up tight. However, due to its environmental cost, it's best reserved for specific, necessary applications.
Like where?
For example, in tight corners or rim joists that space between floors where other materials just can't achieve the same level of airtightness. Think of it as a specialty tool, not a go-to for entire areas like walls or attics if you can avoid it.
So from this big picture, it sounds like cellulose truly stands out for its low upfront carbon footprint, while spray foam offers top performance in terms of air sealing, but at a higher environmental cost. Each has its niche.
Exactly. Understanding their full life cycle impact is key to making the best choice for your specific project and goals.
Okay, now let's talk about the attic. This area is often called an energy black hole, isn't it? Or something like
It absolutely is. Heat loves to rise.
Right.
Basic physics. So the attic is a primary source of energy loss if it's not properly insulated and sealed.
Yeah.
This leads directly to higher energy bills and overworked heating and cooling systems. It's often the weakest point in a home's thermal envelope, that protective layer.
When we're talking about insulating the attic, people often hear about R value. What exactly is that, and what R value should we be aiming for here in a climate like Connecticut?
Okay, so R value is essentially the warmth rating of insulation. It measures its thermal resistance, or how well it resists heat transfer.
Higher is better.
Higher is better, exactly. The higher the R value, the better it insulates. For homes in Connecticut, with our cold winters and hot summers, we typically recommend an R value between R49 and R60 in the attic to be truly effective.
R49 to R60. Okay, so we want a high R value, but you always stress that something even more crucial comes first.
Yeah.
Air sealing. Why is that so important? I've heard you say insulation without air sealing is like wearing a winter coat full of holes.
Precisely. That analogy is spot on. It doesn't matter how thick or warm your insulation material is if drafts are whistling right through it.
Right.
Air sealing stops those sneaky air leaks, all the tiny cracks and gaps in your ceiling that lead up to the attic, around light fixtures, plumbing pipes, the attic hatch itself.
All those little spots.
Yeah. It prevents heat from literally blowing out, while the insulation then slows down the actual heat transfer through the material itself. You must seal air leaks before you insulate, or you're quite literally insulating the outdoors. It's foundational.
That makes it perfectly clear. Foundational. Okay, let's dig deeper into attic-specific insulation types. Keeping in mind air sealing is paramount. How does blown-in fiberglass perform in an attic?
Well, blown-in fiberglass is a popular choice for attics mainly because it's affordable and quick to install. It offers a moderate R value, around R2.2 to 2.7 per inch.
So you need a lot of it for R60.
You do. You'd need quite a lot of it, typically well over a foot and a half, maybe 18 to 22 inches deep, to reach that recommended R49 to R60 for your attic.
Wow, that's deep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The main downsides are that it provides basically no air sealing on its own, it's moisture sensitive, and it can settle over time, which reduces its effectiveness. It's really best for open attics with good existing airflow and minimal moisture risk.
Okay. What about our recycled champ, dense pack cellulose for the attic? How does that do up there?
Dense pack cellulose performs really well in attics. It has a higher R value than blown-in fiberglass, somewhere around R3.2 to 3.8 per inch.
So less depth needed.
Right, you'd need a little less of it, maybe around 13 to 15 inches for that R49 to R60 target. Crucially, when it's dense packed, it offers excellent air sealing capabilities.
Ah, the 2-in-1 again.
Exactly. It fills those gaps better. Plus, it's naturally pest, mold, and fire resistant, and of course, very eco-friendly. Its main potential con is that it can settle if it's underpacked by the installer, and like fiberglass, it doesn't like getting wet. It's particularly excellent for older homes, retrofits, or attics with irregular cavities where bats wouldn't fit well.
And closed cell spray foam in the attic.
Yeah.
You mentioned it earlier for its high performance, but also high cost and environmental impact.
Correct. Closed cell spray foam boasts the highest R value by far, like R6 to R7 per inch. So you need significantly less thickness to hit your target R value.
Big difference.
Huge difference. It provides excellent air sealing and acts as its own moisture barrier, offering truly long-lasting performance. The main drawbacks, as you said, are its expense and the absolute need for professional installation. Safety gear, specialized equipment, it's not DIY.
Definitely not.
It's an ideal solution for specific problem areas like rim joists or maybe vaulted ceilings where you don't have much depth, or hard to reach spots where its superior air sealing and moisture resistance are most beneficial. Maybe not the whole attic floor unless you have specific reasons.
Okay. What about fiberglass bats, those pink rolls people often see at the home improvement store? Are those a good attic option?
Fiberglass bats are indeed cheap and relatively DIY friendly, and they have a decent R value, maybe R2.9 to 3.8 per inch, depending on density.
Oh.
But a poor fit leads to really poor performance. If there are gaps around the edges or if they get compressed, squished down, they lose a lot of their effectiveness.
Right, the air just goes around them.
Precisely. They also offer no air sealing themselves, making them vulnerable to air leakage. They're best for very simple, accessible attics with perfectly standard joist spacing, but frankly, you often get better overall performance and air sealing with blown-in options like cellulose.
Okay. And finally, mineral wool for attic applications.
Mineral wool offers a good R value, maybe R4 or a bit higher per inch. It's fireproof, water resistant, and provides decent soundproofing, which is a nice bonus.
Downsides.
It tends to be more expensive than fiberglass or cellulose, and sometimes it can be a bit harder to find in certain areas. It's an excellent choice, though, for moisture-prone attics or perhaps areas where a fire-rated assembly is required by code.
So many choices. And it sounds like there are plenty of ways to get it wrong, too. From your experience, what are some of the most common attic insulation mistakes people should definitely avoid?
Oh, there are a few big ones I see pretty often. The absolute top mistake is skipping the air sealing before insulating. We can't stress that enough.
Heard loud and clear.
Another is choosing insulation solely based on the cheapest upfront price. That often costs more in the long run through higher energy bills and potential future problems. Ignoring proper attic ventilation is another big one.
Why ventilation?
Well, you need airflow to manage moisture. If you seal it up too tight without ventilation, you can trap moisture and create major mold issues. So you need to balance insulation with airflow, typically through soffit and ridge vents.
Okay, balance is key.
Definitely. And certainly never, ever reuse old, saggy, moldy, or pest-infested insulation. It should always be removed and disposed of properly. Start fresh.
Get rid of the old stuff.
Yeah. And finally, don't overlook leaving the attic hatch uninsulated. It's a surprisingly massive weak point for energy loss. Think of it like leaving a window open slightly. It needs a good seal and insulation, too.
That's a comprehensive list of pitfalls to avoid, and the attic hatch one is a great point. Easy to forget. Now let's talk about moisture. You've mentioned it a few times, and it sounds like a real silent killer for insulation performance. Why is moisture such a problem?
Moisture truly is a silent killer of comfort and efficiency in a home. When insulation gets wet, it can drastically lose its R value.
It's warming power.
Exactly. It invites mold growth, which is a health hazard, and it can even lead to the rotting of your home's wooden framing over time. Essentially, if your insulation acts like a sponge, you're basically paying to heat or cool a pile of damp material and potentially causing serious structural damage.
That's a pretty vivid image. Not good.
So how do common materials like blown-in fiberglass handle moisture? I'm picturing a damp, musty attic now.
Well, blown-in fiberglass, while it's inorganic and therefore not directly a food source for mold, it does absorb and hold moisture readily. Like a sponge, really.
Okay.
This creates the perfect damp, still environment where mold spores, which are everywhere, can thrive. When wet, fiberglass can lose up to 50% of its R value. It slumps and settles in cavities, leaving gaps. And it can trap moisture right up against wood framing, leading to those musty smells you're imagining, and eventually rot.
It really only works well in truly dry, well-ventilated spaces like some attics. It is absolutely not recommended for moisture-prone areas like basements, crawl spaces, or rim joists. You'll just be fighting an uphill battle.
Okay, so fiberglass is definitely not your friend when it comes to damp areas.
Got it.
What about closed-cell spray foam? You said it's in a different league for moisture resistance. What makes it so effective?
It truly is in a different league. Closed-cell spray foam is dense, it's rigid, and by its very nature, its structure, it does not absorb water. The cells are closed, trapping gas.
Like tiny balloons.
Exactly. It acts as its own vapor barrier, effectively preventing moisture from getting into it or passing through it. This means no soaking, no sagging, no slumping, and crucially, no environment for mold to grow within the insulation or behind your walls because of it.
Wow.
It even helps prevent condensation by eliminating those cold surfaces where water vapor tends to collect. As a bonus, its rigidity actually adds some structural strength to whatever it's sprayed on. It's the ideal choice for wet basements, damp crawl spaces, rim joists, or any area with significant moisture concerns. This is especially vital in humid climates like we have here in Connecticut during the summer.
That sounds like a total game changer for those tricky damp spots in a house.
Hmm.
But you also mentioned open cell spray foam earlier. Is that also as good for moisture?
Good question. No, not quite. Open cell spray foam is cheaper and more flexible than closed cell. It has a lower R value per inch, but it is not water resistant. Its cells are open, like a sponge.
It can soak up water.
It can, yes, it can absorb moisture. If you were to consider it for damp areas, it would absolutely require a separate vapor barrier to be installed, unlike closed cell foam, which is the vapor barrier.
Yeah.
So it's really important to differentiate between the two types of spray foam.
Okay, so the message is clear.
Yeah.
When moisture is a definite concern, closed cell spray foam is the heavy hitter, no question.
Absolutely. It tackles moisture head on.
Now that we've gone through the various types and their nuances, their pros and cons, how does someone choose the right eco-friendly insulation for their specific home? It sounds like there's no single best option that works for everyone.
You've hit on the core truth. There's no universal best. It genuinely depends on your specific home and its unique needs. You really need to consider the type of home you have.
Like old versus new.
Exactly. An old shoreline colonial, for instance, might benefit most from dense-packed cellulose for its retrofit capabilities, especially getting into existing wall cavities without tearing everything apart. New construction gives you much more flexibility to choose from the start, maybe plan for thicker walls, and for damp basements or crawl spaces.
For problem areas.
Yeah, mineral wool or rigid foam board or that closed-cell spray foam are typically excellent choices there because of moisture resistance.
And climate plays a big role too, I imagine, especially here in Connecticut with our seasons.
It's paramount. In a climate like Connecticut's, with its wide seasonal swings, hot, humid summers, frigid winters, high R value, and superb air sealing are absolutely essential. Both cellulose and mineral wool really punch above their weight in these conditions, offering good performance.
Okay. And then there's budget, always a factor.
Always. Cellulose is often the lowest cost per R value installed, offering great bang for your buck, especially considering its eco-credentials. Premium natural options like cork, sheep's wool, or hemp, they cost more upfront, but offer unique benefits and long-term value, plus very low environmental impact.
Right.
And spray foam, as we discussed, is generally the most expensive, so it's best reserved for those tricky spots where its unique properties, that intense air sealing and moisture blocking, are indispensable, rather than trying to use it as a whole house solution purely from a cost perspective or even an environmental one.
Is this something people can realistically DIY, or should they always call a professional for most of these?
It varies. Some products are more DIY friendly, like fiberglass bats for a simple, accessible attic if you're careful about fit and safety gear.
Okay.
However, many, especially spray foam, both types, and dense pack cellulose, require specialized equipment and professional installation to be truly effective and, importantly, safe. You definitely don't want to mess up your insulation trying to save a few $100s now, only to have it underperform for decades, or worse, create moisture or air quality problems later.
Good advice. What if someone is prioritizing a specific environmental or performance goal above all else? How does that narrow it down?
That's a great question, and it really helps clarify the choice. If your absolute top priority is minimizing carbon footprint, both operational and embodied.
The whole life cycle.
Exactly. Then cellulose is often the clear winner. If you prefer using totally natural materials, then look into sheep's wool, cork, or hemp insulation. For maximum durability and fire resistance, maybe in a basement, mineral wool is excellent. And if air sealing performance in really challenging areas is your primary concern, closed cell spray foam used responsibly and targetedly is hard to beat.
So mix and match might be the answer.
Very often, yes. It's often advisable, even ideal, to use different insulation types in different parts of the house. For example, maybe cellulose for the walls and attic floor, mineral wool for the basement walls, and a bit of closed cell spray foam for those tricky rim joists. It's a tailored approach, matching the material to the job.
That makes a lot of sense, a truly strategic approach. And I've heard that some of these materials also offer a bonus benefit, soundproofing. Is that true? Does it make a difference?
Yes, it is true. Dense pack cellulose and mineral wool, because they're denser than fiberglass, also help significantly with soundproofing. They absorb airborne noise much better.
Oh, interesting.
It's a really nice extra benefit for indoor comfort, especially if you live in a busy neighborhood near an airport, or even just in a home with multiple stories or noisy kids.
Definitely a perk.
Right.
Before we wrap up, it's definitely worth asking about potential financial incentives, right? Are there rebates or tax credits available for these types of energy efficiency upgrades?
Absolutely, and this is a critical point people should look into. Eco-friendly insulation projects, especially those focused on significant energy efficiency improvements like adding attic insulation or dense packing walls, may very well qualify for rebates and tax credits.
Like state or federal?
Both, potentially.
Sure.
Programs like Energize CT here in Connecticut and the Federal Inflation Reduction Act offer substantial incentives for energy-efficient home upgrades. It can really bring down the upfront cost.
Good to know.
Just make sure you work with a reputable contractor who understands these programs and can help you with the proper documentation, the paperwork to claim your benefits. It can make a big difference to the bottom line.
This deep dive has already given us so much to think about regarding our homes. But what does the future hold for sustainable insulation? Are there even greener, more innovative options on the horizon that we should be aware of?
There are indeed some incredibly exciting natural and emerging alternatives worth watching closely. Things are always evolving. Sheep's wool, for example, is renewable. It actually helps regulate moisture naturally, and it's mold resistant.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Hemp insulation made from the hemp plant is fast-growing. It's carbon sequestering, meaning it pulls carbon from the atmosphere as it grows.
Like cellulose.
Kind of, yeah, but as a plant. And it's naturally pest-resistant. It is currently on the pricier side, though, and availability can be limited.
Okay.
There's also wood fiberboard, which is breathable, compostable at end of life, and fantastic for high-performance builds like passive houses. And looking further out, there are experimental materials like mycelium.
Mushroom.
Basically, yeah, mushroom-based insulation. It's still very new, but wildly sustainable potential and naturally fire-resistant. And then there's cork, harvested from cork oak trees without harming the tree itself. It's lightweight, quiet, highly durable, water-resistant.
Lots to watch.
Definitely. These are worth keeping an eye on, especially if you're planning a new build or a very deep energy retrofit where you might incorporate some of these newer materials.
Mycelium, that's fascinating.
Yeah.
Okay, so if someone undertakes these upgrades, maybe using cellulose or mineral wool, what's the actual measurable impact on their carbon footprint? Can we, quantify it, put some numbers on it?
We can, and the numbers are incredibly compelling. Proper insulation and air sealing can cut your heating and cooling costs by a significant amount, often 15–30%, sometimes even more, depending on how bad the house was before.
Wow.
For a typical Connecticut home, that could easily mean avoiding the use of, say, 100 to 200 gallons of heating oil per year, or the equivalent in natural gas or electricity.
Okay, and in carbon terms?
To put that into perspective, that translates to approximately 1 to 2 tons of co-emissions avoided annually, every single year.
1 or 2 tons a year. And over the lifespan of the insulation, that really adds up, doesn't it? Decades, potentially.
It absolutely does. Multiply that annual saving by the typical 20, 30-year lifespan of good insulation, maybe even longer, and you're looking at a cumulative reduction of 20 to 40 plus tons of co-euro over the life of that insulation job.
That's substantial.
It really is. To give you a sense of scale, that's like taking multiple gas-powered cars off the road for an entire year, or skipping dozens of flights from, say, Boston to D.C., or maybe not eating beef for a decade, if that's a dietary comparison that resonates.
That puts it in perspective.
Yeah, insulation like cellulose starts with a small or even negative carbon footprint and then just keeps saving energy and carbon over its entire lifetime. That's a powerful long-term win for your wallet and the planet.
That's incredibly impactful and really paints a clear picture of the difference these choices can make. So, to recap our deep dive today, insulation might not be the sexiest home improvement project.
Definitely not glamorous.
No, but it is undeniably a smart long-term investment. It actively cuts emissions, saves you money month after month, boosts your comfort level year-round, and even protects your home's structure from things like moisture damage.
Mm-hmm.
And the best choice truly comes down to matching the right material or combination of materials to the specific needs of your house, your climate, and your personal goals, whether that's budget, environmental impact, or performance.
It really is one of the most effective and impactful upgrades you can make, with benefits that resonate for decades. It just sits there quietly working for you.
So as you go about your day, perhaps take a moment to consider, how much hidden energy might your home be bleeding out, especially from places like the attic or basement? And what small steps could you explore, maybe starting with some air sealing, to turn that loss into a long-term win for both your wallet and the planet?